Hello, and welcome to another daily devotion as we talk about facing our giants. Of course, the whole series comes from what we preach about this past Sunday in the book of Numbers, the people of Israel being promised the land of milk and honey by God, the promised land. And then when they get to the very borders of it, they send in spies and they come back saying, yes, everything is as God told us. It's a prosperous land with great soil and teeming with milk and honey. In other words, we can make a beautiful life there, but that big contraction, big but in the way is play on words there. The towns are fortified, the people are large and in charge, and they're giant size. We feel like grasshoppers. Hello, grasshopper. Compared to them, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? We can't. We can't possibly. Let's just go back. Let's just go back home. And so I think about the giants some of you may have faced. And I share a story of a woman who grew up abusive dad, terrifying when he drank, not so terrifying, but still always on edge, not knowing the volatility of a situation. Tough relationships with siblings. And living on a farm, very impoverished. Family living out of a gas station, really, for a time. Then out of a farmer's chicken coop, a family of 7. And in all those moments of poverty and fear, still there's in this woman faith that God is with her as a child, as a young adult, later as a mom, and then after a divorce as a single mom, and continues to believe that God will be with her no matter what, knowing that God has seen her through so much hardship, and yet at the same time revealed again and again how beautiful God is. I know the story is close to home for those of you who've grown up in alcoholic families or abusive situations, gone through troubling or difficult divorces, and the pain of life that sometimes comes unexpectedly, especially when it comes from the hands of those who you love or are in blood relationship with. And yet sometimes they're the people who hurt you the most. And I always marvel at the faith in adversity. The Apostle Paul talks about it in Corinthians. We've been beaten but never crushed, knocked down but never destroyed, pressed in at all sides but never giving up, ridiculed and mocked, having nothing, and yet at the same time possessing all things. And I think about him going through shipwrecks and beatings with rods, and people opposing him publicly, and being imprisoned, and being, he says in Corinthians, in the arena of animals, and shipwrecked, and all the headaches of sometimes being a founder of a church and having the people say, well, we like Silas as a preacher better, or we like Cephas or Paul or Peter or Apollos better, and they're better leaders, and you might write really good, but when you speak from the quote unquote pulpit, not so much. It's tough to hold on when people close have hurt you so badly, and to believe that God is still good. Is it not? And so this devotion is dedicated to one of the people in my life who has faced a myriad of giants, and is one of the strongest people of faith I know, my mom. You're incredible. If you're watching this, thank you. And for all of those who, through adversity and struggle, face things that seem insurmountable and yet know that in Christ you can do all things, endure all things, bear all things. For this shepherd will lead you through the valley of the shadows, where there is seemingly no light, and brings us into a spacious place. He gives us what we need, not necessarily what we want.